So does it matter the motive behind it to you guys as long as these things are just being pushed to the forefront? Is that okay?
I'll take the opportunity.
Right?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
I'm okay with taking the opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm Asian. I'll take the opportunity. What's good? What's good? What's good? So we are back with the Bamboo Ceiling Podcast today. We are talking about current events and things that are happening in the world that's changing in our world. And so we just want to react and have some conversation, dialogue around how our world is changing and how, just to have opinions around what's happening around the world. And so that's going on. So one thing that is happening that caught my attention with cancel culture, or how everything's canceled. Nike came out with an ad or a commercial this year about to relate to the Chinese population. And so in this Nike commercial, there was this grandma and this little Chinese girl, and you know how like Asian communities, like we give kids like money.
that's how we show our love.
That's how we show that's our blessing, like our love, and that's how we bless them. And so this Nike commercial did a really good job of acculturating, the culture of, the Chinese folks. And so it showed this little girl growing up, and this little girl and this grandma was trying to hand this girl money, and she would run away because she doesn't want it, and she grows up in phases of this, commercial. And then when she became an adult, when her grandma gave her money, she would just start running in the rice fields and everywhere else around like the villages. And at the end of the commercial, you saw them have like a last stare down with each other, and the grandma comes to this little girl, which is now an adult woman with her own family at her house, and they stare down each other, and she hands the envelope with money, right, to the little girl, and the camera zooms in down on her feet, the grandma's feet, and you see Nike shoes. So
yeah, that's crazy.
It was just a really good way that Nike acculturated the Chinese culture, or kind of the Asian culture, because we know that when we leave someplace, like our folks will try to be giving us money. It's just a way to acknowledge or bless those. And so what do you guys think about that as companies are learning about cultural awareness and cultural competency? Do you guys feel like, that's something that is changing in our world as everybody's more woke, or even if you're not trending with the culture of, hey, like people like Black Lives Matter, people's lives matter, like diversity matters, you're gonna be left behind and everybody's gonna cancel.
Dude, this train is taking off, and if you miss that train, man, you're gonna get left behind. So like you've seen like how Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima got canceled, right? And so I think corporations and companies and anything in general, you gotta be on the train now, because I think Nike and other companies are setting the tone for future just future awareness. And so you're either on or you're not.
Do you think they're intentionally looking for that now, though? Like they really are intentionally looking for that, or are they just being more welcoming to all these new ideas that are flooding in? Like, like I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know if they're doing it out of their like sincerity, right? Or if it's just to save their bottom line.
Yeah.
I feel like with the racial divide, especially America, where America moves, the world moves, right?
That's true.
And so with the racial divide in America, I think it has lit a fire. I don't know how genuine it is, but there has been like, lit a fire and a push that we've never seen before, whether it's genuine or not.
So does it matter the motive behind it to you guys as long as these things are just being pushed to the forefront? Is that okay?
I'll take the opportunity.
Sure. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with taking the opportunity. I'm like, hey, I'm Asian. I'll take the opportunity. I'm gonna bring my Asian card and fill your niche or fill your quota, or because I think for the longest time we haven't been given opportunities. And so it's like, how do you? Hey, I'll jump on board. I'll embrace that. Asian token guy.
Hey, you might as well reap the benefits.
Yeah.
If it's there.
And it's nothing new, but it's a new opportunity.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
And a new world that we are living in. And I don't know how genuine it is, but there's a sensitivity that I will jump on board because I feel like there has never been that sensitivity.
Dude, I feel like this. Okay, so what's going on right now is kind of the same as remember the LA Clippers owner? What's his name again?
Yeah, it's Sterling.
Donald Sterling, right?
I think I don't remember.
Anyways, like how he made the racist remarks and he got like hella canceled. Like everybody canceled him out, and then Mark Dallas Mavericks Mark Cuban was like, I think he made a good argument. He goes, "Hey man, if that's the norm now, where we're gonna go after dudes and cancel them, then it's gonna get kind of fishy for like the rest of like the owners, huh?" Because everybody's got a tape somewhere. Everybody's got some skeletons in their closet that although you might be all for racial like equities, eventually it might hit you, and that's when it's not going to be fun. So all this like promoting awareness, quotas and whatnot, like it's all fun and games until it happens to you, right? So then eventually one of us is going to have a company, and then we're going to get canceled because we're not aware, or we don't have like the right number of people working for us. I feel like that's the movement. The movement's gonna go that way. Like eventually, hey, I want to start seeing like black folks or white folks in a Chinese restaurant work in the kitchen too, because I want it to be that diverse.
Yeah, I think that's where like being genuine matters, right, with these companies, because eventually their true colors will show up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of sports, right?
Yeah.
I saw the story of Drew Brees. So when they were asking Drew Brees about all the protesting for Black Lives Matter, right? And Drew Brees basically said, "Hey, I will never respect anyone who kneels or disrespects the flag, basically, right?" And so a lot of his guys came at him, They're like, hey, I know one of his linebackers was really upset. But then some of the other guys, they were just like, oops. Like he was saying, Kamara was like, oops, And so he came up with a statement a couple of days later saying how, it was a misstep and he does support Black Lives Matters, and he's always been a friend and not a foe, right?
Yes.
And so do you guys think that this is like just a reactionary where, there's this movement and Drew's just kind of reacting to it, or is it something where he genuinely does believe what he says?
I think he's genuine, and his message is right. It's just delivered at the wrong time. He kind of said it in the heat of the moment. When the emotions are at the highest. Like around the country, people are still like pissed off at the police. People are still like protesting and rioting, and he just so happened to say it. Had he waited a couple months, that would have been fine. I think that his timing was just off, but I think Drew legitimately cares, and he's a good dude, man.
Yeah, no, you have to know his context, know about his grandpa serving in the war and all that. So he has context around what he says. I'm a huge Drew Brees fan, but the only thing is, I think for him, he really knows how to engage in the community and live among the people. And that's someone you can trust. And when a leader takes ownership in their missteps, I'm all about that, because we have flaws, we make mistakes all the time, and we're human. And when you can own up to like your missteps, that's somebody that I can trust. And if you can engage in the community that don't look like you, or be around people that, and not be like a Karen in the suburbs, then I can trust you too, because you live among the people, and they give you more grace, and they extend that because you're rubbing shoulders with each other. So for me, it's more of, hey, you owned it, you made a missteps, and I appreciate that. And also for the fact of, dude, like, people will give you grace when you live among the community, you live among the people. So it has nothing to do with not knowing Brees or not. Like when your people back you up in that misstep, it just shows a lot about your character and who you are, even though people don't know you.
Yeah,
So,
I originally I thought, man, if my O line is telling me that I messed up, that I'm gonna change my mind really quick, and so I
Right.
kind of thought it was a little fake, But then like I saw his players were backing him up,
Yeah.
And so that I think that speaks a lot.
I know Joe Horn, the old receiver. Yeah, he came out and he said, you guys don't even know Drew, man. Drew's a legit dude, man. He cares about, like, he was there for Katrina. He helped the whole the community out,
And it's one thing, how like going back to like just the company, like it's one thing to like know diversity, right?
Yeah.
But it's another thing to do diversity.
Right.
And for
To
Drew,
live it,
to live it. And it's like for Drew, I really feel like you could see it's more of a heart thing and doing than like, oh, I'm gonna flip the script and allow diversity to come in.
Yeah.
And I think as for me, a minority, I could see that. It's not faked, or it's more genuine in that. So I don't know. That's what I'm
Speaking of sports again too, a story that can go with that one is Mike Gundy. He's the Oklahoma State head coach, and so it's been in the headlines. His star player Chuba Hubbard, who is I want to say he's like number 1 or 2 in the nation in terms of running back, and then basically they saw him in a picture with the OAN shirt. I didn't even know what OAN was until I started reading it. It's like a news network that isn't so much so for isn't really pro Black Lives Matter. So then they damn near canceled the head coach, and so he had to come out and like apologize
because of his student or because of his player.
Yeah, and it wasn't even so he didn't even wear the shirt to practice or around the campus. It was actually just like a photo.
Yeah.
He was on a fishing trip, and he had a shirt on, and they weren't having it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it's a sensitive time for sensitive people. The more sensitive you are, right, the better it is for you at the moment.
Man, at the moment, yes.
But there's a fine line to not oversensitize everything and not become genuine at the moment. So there's a fine line of living your truth and knowing that and not faking it so that you are in the in crowd at the moment.
Right.
So yeah.
So since we're on the topic of race and diversity, so I think the conversation that's going on in a lot of the Asian communities too is that right now it's the community is being torn between like pro-blacks and non-pro-blacks. Like there are the ones that support the movement and some that are just super against it. But if there is one thing I just want to make clear is that we have, as an Asian and the Asian community, we have been riding off the coattails of the African Americans, the Black communities for like years, right? And thanks to what they've done in the civil rights movement, we're able to reap a lot of their the benefits that comes with the movement. And so with that being said, I just want to point out like 3 things that we are benefiting from, and one is the Voting Rights Act that allows a lot of like non-English speaking Asians to vote, and then the Immigration and Nationality Act that allows like a certain number of Asians to immigrate to this country. So there isn't a quota that needs to be filled, or we can't take them in after like so many. And then the third one, I think this is the biggest one that Asians are benefiting from, is like the ending of the interracial marriages, right? The marriage ban. So as of 2010, 36% of like Asian women are in a interracial marriage. So that's a huge number. I mean, 36 of Asian women, 36%. So we definitely are reaping a lot of the benefits, the rewards of.
Yeah, it's like the little brother or little sister reaping the benefits of the discipline that the older siblings had to go through or persevere through. I think Loving Day was like last week, but it's kind of just the celebration of like this couple. Their last name is Loving. The wife was black and the
Husband was white, huh? Oh, there was a movie about it too.
Yeah,
I think.
and they couldn't get married in, I think, Virginia or something because they were interracial, and so they had to move out of the state or something to get married, and they won a court decision, and so.
But then those laws, they just recently changed then, or
no? So that law, I mean, so in 1965, around that, in the 60s, right? But if you take that into consideration, it's a fairly recent. It's only 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those people are still alive today.
Oh yeah.
So you think about it in terms of like human years, it's pretty recent.
I think it just allows us to live an easier life, or interracial marriages to have an easier life, because those weren't allowed. Those weren't rights given or allowed
at that time.
I asked because in real estate, right, on titles, there's still some, because on your title you can write any demand you want, right?
Yeah.
And on a couple of the titles I read, it says a colored person cannot buy this house.
Really?
Yeah, it still says
says that on there?
Still says that to this day. Because people read it, they kind of just glance over it, but you can't. They don't care, right?
It's a lot of paper.
Yeah, it's a lot of paper. So over the years, and then like once you buy the house, you can have it changed, right? But then people don't read it, so they just kind of let it go over and over and over and over. So like and you just add on to it, right? So it's not like you write up a new one, you just add on to this one, add, right? So like I saw a couple, this is colored people are not allowed to buy this house, right? And I was like, that's crazy.
But that's the systematic racism that happened back in the day, where, I mean, if you don't know about this, go look it up, on YouTube, where if you were black, right, you were destined to stay in this area, right? And then if you're white, and the companies were in the white area. And that's why I think for black people, their voices are, this has been a root of the system that we've been trying to expose it and having a voice around it. But to that point, I didn't even know about that. Yeah. But that goes to show the root of the issue.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because they wanted a certain type of people in a certain area.
In a certain neighborhood,
And these are, if you're ignorant or not aware of this, you just don't know. I didn't even know that, but I knew about hey, there are pockets of people because the government wanted people, minorities or people of color to stay there.
Oh yeah.
So
that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good.
So if you are a person of color, can you buy that house then, even if it's been stated?
Well, it's dependent on the seller, right?
I see. I see. Yeah.
But of course not.
No money talks anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I mean, just thinking about everything going on, our world is shifting to a new world. What do you guys think it'll look like when we come out of this pandemic or whatnot? Even just adding on top of the pandemic and the racial war and the tension and the sensitivity of the culture, what does it look like for us?
A bunch of fake people now. I feel like everyone's gonna be super fake. Yeah. A bunch of Karens, a bunch of fakes, because everybody is going to try to save their bottom line, right? I don't want to lose my job, so I'm gonna pretend to like people. You know what I'm saying?
But will that invoke change though? I feel like it's different now.
Yeah, it's a bad change.
Yeah,
insincere change, but ultimately a change. Yeah. So maybe that's how change works, I guess. Because could you imagine? Did you think that as soon as they passed the law for to ban to allow people to interracially marry each other, do you think as soon as they passed that law and people are just going, all right, I'm no longer racist? Well, I'm sure it took years of hatred, still. Yeah. I mean, people.
But then you see underneath that, there's so much things that are still rooted and tied down that people aren't willing to work. And I think people don't want transformation. They want change, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't know that, people are just, some people are just ignorant in that, where they want change, but they don't know that they actually want transformation of hearts. Yeah. Of just people wanting what's better, because honestly, sometimes we are smarter than we think we are, and that kind of kills us.
Right.
I tend to think that. I know that when I get too smart, it kills me.
Oh yeah.
And so I just project that to the world, where I'm like, sometimes we're just too smart for our own selves, man. Like, because that just kills you.
The more you know, the more you think, the harder life gets anyways. You know, if you think about it, like the more woke you are, the more issues you're going to have. You know, sometimes it's almost better to be that clueless dude just walking around. You know, not knowing that there's racism, you just go, oops, I wasn't supposed to be in this neighborhood. Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but that's all I got. So we got.
Yeah, that's all we got.
Yep.
It's good to just see the world changing
Oh,
and adapt to the new world as it is.
As it
Take
is, yeah.
advantage, guys.
Take advantage of your race card, yeah.
To the bamboo ceiling community, take advantage.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode of the Bamboo Ceiling, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review on iTunes. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at #TheBambooCeiling. Until next time, use your voice.